Hi, my name is Alexander Angelikis, and you are listening to the Hollywood and Beyond podcast.
Hi, Stephen. This is Emily Proctor calling you.
Hi, Stephen. It's Melissa Anderson calling.
Mr. Brittingham, this is Bill Duke. How are you, sir?
Stephen, this is Patrick Duffy.
Welcome to Hollywood and Beyond podcast. Your home for meaningful and in-depth interviews. For more guest and show news, please visit hollywoodbeyond.net.
Hey Supernatural fans, this is Carrie Genzel inviting you to join me for Creation's Supernatural Convention in Arlington, Virginia, this coming August 12th through 14th. I will be there along with all of your favorite Supernatural stars. Join me for a free screening of Just My Imagination. I will be hosting along with the hilarious Nate Torrance, who plays Sully. There will be autographs, photo ops, a karaoke night, and so much more. Get your tickets at creationent.com. Don't miss out. Get yours today.
Hello, this is Anna East Eden. Have a question or comment for Stephen? You can send them anytime to the show's official email address, hollywoodandbeyondshow@gmail.com. Stephen looks forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show.
My special guest today is someone I am truly honored to have visit me here on Hollywood and Beyond podcast. Hi there, friends and listeners. I am your host, actor and writer, Stephen Brittingham. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. Military veteran and actor Alexander Angelikis is my guest today. Amazon Prime's hottest new series is The Terminal List, starring Chris Pratt, based on the best-selling book by Jack Carr. Alexander appears in this engrossing conspiracy thriller as Cody Smitty Smith, a former Navy SEAL now serving as a member of the FBI's elite hostage rescue team, which is charged with executing extremely dangerous law enforcement missions. This action thriller takes viewers on an emotional journey as Lieutenant Commander James Reese, portrayed in a strong performance by Pratt, watches his entire Navy SEAL platoon ambushed on a daring mission, only to return home with the realization that dark and corrupt forces are conspiring against him.
Investigations are still ongoing into the failures of Operation Odin Sword.
Failed missions resulted in the death of 12 Navy SEALs.
Lieutenant Commander James Reese, can you outline the details of your mission?
They knew we were coming.
According to audio logs, you went dark on comms roughly 4 mics in. Why?
That's not how it went down.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Headaches, paranoia, memory confusion. Daddy!
We're gonna get through this, okay?
Want to tell me what happened? Somebody fed us bad intel. It was a setup.
If I'm right, we need to act on this.
I need names.
If there's a connection to you and your men, I'll find it.
Answers or blood? Blood.
Where's James Reese?
Is it true your fugitive is a Navy SEAL?
There's a bunch of people tracking you right now, so just lay low. I have 12 men flying home the caskets right now.
What?
This is personal. Oh, you wanted in on the fray. Now, you're in the battlefield. There's evil in this world, the likes of which you can't possibly imagine.
James.
Take Lucy, get her out of the house now.
Alexander will be sharing his contributions to the terminal list, as well as his own personal artistic journey.
Is there a problem?
All due respect, sir, I know Commander Reese. I served with him in the SEAL teams. Guy's a legend. Total patriot. This is completely out of character for him.
What's your name?
Smitty.
Your total patriot set off a bomb and executed a man on the streets of San Francisco. He's being treated for traumatic brain injury and possible brain tumor. This is not the James Reese you remember.
It really is an honor to have him here. Welcome to the show, Alexander.
Hey, Stephen, thanks so much for having me, brother. I really appreciate it, man, and I'm truly excited to be here, man.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the show. As I previously mentioned, this is an honor to have you on the show. I'm here in Cincinnati, Ohio, my hometown. Where are you joining me from today, by chance?
I'm in Los Angeles, California.
And is it sunny there, maybe?
I actually have not looked outside the window yet, but
Gotcha.
I hope so.
There's a good chance it might be. I mean, you have some cloudy days, but there's still a good chance of some sunshine. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And let me just say congratulations up front on your appearance on this series and your contributions. I thought you did an excellent job, and I'm really looking forward to learning more about it today.
I really appreciate that, brother. Thank you, man. It truly means more than you know, man. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Let me mention up front that you honorably served 8 years in the United States Marine Corps, served 8 years and finished multiple deployments and also a tour in Iraq. Let me just say thank you for your amazing service to this country.
I really appreciate that, brother. That really means a lot, man. Thank you. It was an honor to be of service, man. So, thank you.
You are most welcome. You are appreciated.
Thank you.
And from what I understand, you credit your mother for your introduction to acting, to performing. Would you mind sharing the story behind that?
Yeah. So it was definitely a lot of my mom, but it was, I would say, a little bit of my aunt, a little bit of my grandmother there too. My upbringing was, to put it mildly, not like the greatest. Things were a little bit rough growing up for me as a kid. And because of that, I had a lot of energy, and I guess I was not putting that energy in like a very positive place or, in a very good direction. So my mom was just, trying to find different things for me to, have a good place to put all that energy instead of getting into trouble a lot, which is what I was doing. She had me in like karate, and then it was, and the other problem was I could never like finish anything. So I'd start one thing, and then I don't know, for some reason I'd lose interest, or I'd get bored, or whatever it was, or I just want to go back to getting in some sort of trouble. So I did karate for a little bit. Didn't last very long. I ended up quitting that, and then I took up like guitar because I'd always been a huge fan of guitar, and there was always like rock and roll music playing around my house. My mom's a big rock and roll fan, and so I started doing that. She sent me there, got me a guitar, the whole thing, right? And I had this crazy expectation that like as soon as I started, I'd be playing Voodoo Child by Jimi Hendrix, and Sweet Now in the Fire by Rage Against the Machine, and all this like intricate, complicated stuff, right? And then I get in there and start, learning the guitar, and I'm like, man, dude, this is just not what I thought. This is so boring. I don't want to learn this stuff.
No overnight sensation, huh?
No, man, I think I lasted like a month, man, or something terrible like that. It was like a month or less. And then I quit that. And then my grandmother got me, brought home 2 DVDs one day, because she would always watch the old movies, right? And every time I was with her, I'd watch the old, the old black and white films with her. And she got me 2 DVDs one day, and it was Some Like It Hot and On the Waterfront. And I love Some Like It Hot. I love Tony Curtis. I love Jack Lemmon. I love Marilyn Monroe. But when I saw On the Waterfront and I watched Marlon Brando for the first time, I was like, wow, man. I was like, I don't know, but like whatever he's doing, like I want to learn how to do that. So, my family was always trying to get me to like at least try and go to a drama school to see how I liked it. Because even when I was a little kid, I'd always be able to just memorize movies, when I was a little kid, I could start talking. I'd start, memorizing the Jungle Book and whatever Disney movies I was into at the time, So my mom especially would always really push you. She'd go try it, give it a shot, go try it. And I was always very resistant to it. And then one day, I don't know what happened, and maybe it was watching On the Waterfront, but after that, something just kind of gave in. And I said, okay, cool. So I'll give it a try. And I think I must have been like the very beginning of high school. So I must have been a freshman at that point. And they, her, my grandmother, my aunt, they all kind of like, searched about town for, what they felt would be a good school for me to go check out. And they stumbled upon the Lee Strasberg Theater up there in West Hollywood. So they sent me there, and I was doing their Young Actors program. I think it was just like once a week. I think it was, I don't remember, maybe it was on like a Saturday or a Sunday. I think it was just one time a week. And I just fell in love with it, man. I absolutely fell in love with it. And it was a place that, one of the very few places I was always excited to go to. And I never wanted to leave. So I just had a blast, man. And, again, I was a kid, so I was not in any way, remotely having like any thoughts of like, oh, I could do this as a job. I wasn't even thinking about having a job. I was, just being a teenager. But, I knew that people did it for a job. I knew that was a thing. So I did that for pretty much all of high school. I mean, my freshman to my senior year. And then, classes in schools are expensive, and my family didn't have like a whole lot of money growing up. My mom had to work multiple jobs. So it was, it was difficult. It was a miracle that she was even able to keep me there for 3 years, but she did, and she worked her ass off and kept me there, and it kept me out of a lot of trouble. So that was another good thing. So she was happy about that. And then, after that, I graduated high school, and, again, unfortunately, we couldn't really afford to keep sending me, to the school. So I had to stop. And, by that time I was, pretty much like right on the edge of graduating high school. And I needed to kind of start figuring out, all right, what am I going to do? And I was not a fan of school at all. I think I spent more time out of the classroom than I did inside of one. It just did it, like I'm the kind of person there where like, if I'm going to learn something, I have to be interested in it. Otherwise, my attention is not going to get grabbed.
I hear you. I had some of the same issues myself, especially with math.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I'm like, dude, if the fate of the world depended on me, like solving a math problem, I'm sorry, man. I'm just going to apologize right now.
We're all doomed. We're in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, that makes two of us.
I'm so bad at it. I'm so bad at it, man. So it definitely makes me feel better to know that there's I'm not the only one at this.
But American history, world history, English, those type of subjects, I really enjoyed so much.
Dude, that's so crazy because it was the same with me, man. The same exact thing with me. That's so cool. I loved all that stuff, man. I still love it to this day, man. Like I'll constantly watch documentaries about, either American history or world history or history of like ancient civilizations. Like that's what fascinates me, man.
Well, Alexander, I'll share this with you. I've been studying World War II since I was a very young boy, and my grandparents who actually raised me, I called them mom and dad as well, bought me a set of encyclopedias. So we're talking pre-internet here. We're talking the 80s.
Right.
And I became very interested in World War II. I used to get books out at the library, watch a lot of movies from World War II. And to this day, I still continue my studying of that horrifying conflict. How complex that war was on so many levels. It still fascinates me today, and I'm still learning new stories. You think that I might run out of potentially new things to learn about, but that is far from the case.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like, I mean, out of all the wars in American history, it's that one is just like, it's just the most fascinating, man. It really is. I mean, for me, I don't know how to describe it, man. There's just something about it that's just so much. I don't know. It's just it's very captivating, man. And yeah, like you said, it's incredibly complex. And I think maybe it could be wrong, and I think maybe this might just be my feeling on it. But I think one of the things about it that I think is such a draw and keeps it so interesting for people too is the era in which it was in. I feel like that time, good, like maybe the 30s, 40s, 50s, and all that is just like people. I don't know. There's something about that time that I feel like it's just absolutely fascinating to people, man. Just something about it. I don't even know how to describe it, man, but it's just everything as a whole, like the people at the time, the way they dressed, the way the cars looked, the way, so it's,
yes,
I think it has that going for it too. You know what I'm saying? It was a part of this point in time that I feel like, was just, I mean, as they say, like the golden age, right? In American history, or, the golden age of Hollywood. And it was just done, it was done during a time that was, just so fascinating. I think still is fascinating to people to this day. So,
yes,
it makes sense why people still very much, engage in learning about that particular conflict,
And Alexander, you know this probably better than anybody with your military service is, I'm sure it's been discussed with others that you encountered during your service, but some people don't really realize America was like a sleeping giant. We weren't necessarily, the military force that we would become. We were actually kind of behind on the 8 ball in many ways, weren't we, compared to Japan and Germany.
Yeah, man.
A lot of people don't realize
dude.
We were really like a sleeping giant.
100%, man. I think you actually, I think that's the biggest thing, to be honest with you. I think you really hit that on the head, man, is because everybody loves an underdog story, right? Everybody.
That's right.
Every human being in every walk of life loves the underdog story, right? There's just something fascinating to people about someone or a group of people that's just really behind it, you know what I'm saying? And somehow by a miracle, you know what I'm saying, they're the ones that come out on top, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably one of the biggest draws. And you're 100% right. We were so behind at that time.
And Alexander, you brought it up so well. That time period, right? First of all, the ladies had wonderful hair, didn't they? There's something about that time period.
No, 100%.
Women just dressed differently back then, and I always loved movies from the late 30s and early to mid 40s. But
right.
after that war, technology really kind of started to go in a different direction, didn't it? So in a way, it's fortunate that it wasn't like 10 years later.
Right. No, 100%.
Because things would be getting more advanced in technology and all of that. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that conflict known as World War II. I appreciate it. Now, Alexander, I'm very curious. Your mother, wow, she sounds like such a terrific lady, trying to get you involved with something that you can be passionate about and focused on, and keep you on the straight and narrow, right? And not get you into too much trouble.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering, you mentioned earlier, you said you didn't really see yourself like doing it necessarily as a job. So is that how you have ventured towards military service? Because you just thought, well, I enjoy this, but I don't know if I can do it as a career, at least at that point.
Yeah, man. So that's definitely that's I would say definitely a piece of it.
Okay.
The thing was that, like I said, I was nigh on interested in most of schooling, right? Besides a couple of the subjects that you and I share in common that we're both interested in. Excuse me. But because of that, I did not get good grades, man. Like, I think the only A I ever really got consistently was like PE. I
had an A in lunch, just so you know.
Oh, dude, I'm right there with you, bro. So the GPA, my GPA was just not good, man. So like by the time I was getting ready to finish high school, I was not going to even remotely get into college. Like, I would have to go to a community college first, do X amount of years that you're supposed to do there, and then I can transfer. And I'm just like, well, man, I don't even like fucking school. Like, why am I gonna? Sorry, I just swore. I don't know if that's okay, but you can scratch that out, my bad. Yeah. So I definitely was not. First off, I didn't even have the grades to go into college. And then also I was just lacking the interest. And at the time, I needed some sort of guidance, because, I had a stepfather that was in my life for a time that was not the greatest. And then he disappeared. My biological father was never around. So I didn't have that that male role model in my life. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of that, probably contributed to, my lack of discipline and lack of guidance, and
sure.
Probably a lot of getting into trouble all the time. But during that time, Iraq was already going on, Afghanistan was already going on, and it was all over it was obviously all over the news, and 2001 was still very fresh in a lot of people's minds, and we were kind of in the heat of things at that time, and anytime I'd and my mom would have the news on, or my grandmother would have the news on, or anything like that, I'd always see kids that just looked not even that much older than me, maybe some of the same age as me at the time, because I was already 18 by the time before I even graduated high school, I felt this sense of like, man, this just doesn't feel right that I'm here and they're over there. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like I should go do something, and that's kind of what happened. It's kind of a funny story how I even got recruited. But I was walking home one day from school, and the recruiters at the time they would always hang out kind of on the steps of like the auditorium, where they'd have all the school plays and all the big events where everybody would gather into the auditorium kind of thing. And I just remember I had my headphones in and listening to my music. I was walking home, and I don't know why I did. I looked over to my left, and there was this Marine recruiter there, and for some reason, again, I don't know why, I just gave him this really unpleasant look. And then I see him looking at me, and he's starting to wave his hand, and he's saying something, but I can't hear because my headphones are in. And all I'm thinking was, oh, great, man, I'm going to get beat up, man. Like, I don't know what I just did, but I just totally messed up. I need to get out of here. And then he just came down, he stopped me, and we just started talking. And he was like, hey, here's my car, and come check this out, yada, yada, yada. Told me a little bit about himself, what he does, snap. And so I did. And then from there, I went into something called the delayed entry program. And I think I spent pretty much the rest of my senior year in that. And all that really is it's kind of their way of very softly introducing you into their world kind of thing. So, you meet up once a week, you learn a little bit about, the Marine Corps specifically each week. They take you on runs and, just kind of give you a very soft introduction to kind of that world, and that's what I did. And then eventually I got ready to graduate. I graduated, and I had already signed everything before I graduated because I was 18. So I didn't need my mom's permission or anything like that. And yeah, man, and then it wasn't long after that. I was getting picked up at 4:00 in the morning, and I disappeared for the next 3.5 months in boot camp, and came back a Marine. And then within a year, I was on deployment. I went straight to Iraq, and just the thing is that no matter how much time had passed, I never stopped thinking about acting. Never, ever stopped. Anytime I'd watch a movie or a TV show, or I got the chance to be in a movie theater, it was always on my mind, always on my mind. It just never went away, and especially if I was in a movie theater, man. I'd be sitting there daydreaming about, my face being up there, and being the one, helping to tell that story. And every time I leave a movie theater, man, I would just get this, the butterflies in my stomach, man. I would just, I'd get these goosebumps, man. And I'm just like, man, I love this stuff so much, and that was all the way through, leaving drama school, my senior year of high school, joining the military, so by the time I was getting ready to get out, from the military, it'd been over 12 years since I had done any acting. And, I was doing something else at the time, when I was getting ready to get out, because I'd always been able to draw too. And I started getting quite a bit of tattooing done, probably more than I should have. But, the military culture is very much, everybody loves the tattoos, man. So it's very much a part of that culture too. So, but that being said, I was like, all right, well, I do know that I'm not here for life. So I am going to get out. But what am I going to do? So I just started thinking. I was like, well, I'm essentially like a walking coloring book. So I like tattoos. I like to draw. All right, well, I guess maybe I'll go try that out. So, I ended up checking out this one tattoo shop over down on Venice near the beach. Not on Venice Beach, but like the Lincoln area. So it's not exactly on the beach. So I went down there. And on my last deployment, I was doing all this kind of drawing, right? Just trying to get some semblance of like a portfolio together to bring into them. and I'll be honest with you, like none of this stuff was like that great. I definitely would say it showed potential, and I think that's what helped me. But it was not like, I had never gone to art school or anything like that. It was always just kind of a use of just like kind of a natural ability, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But there was nothing quite refined about it. I didn't know technique or anything like that. So that, I was lacking in all that stuff. So I went in there with my, my goofy little notepad, and, I was like, yeah, like, I just, don't really know how this works, but I got recommended, to come check you guys out. It's that. So then they were nice enough to like give me a shot. They took me under their wing, and I think, for like the last almost 2 years that I was in, any chance I was able to go from Camp Pendleton, in San Diego to Venice Beach in LA, I'd get in my car and I'd drive down and I'd go put in my apprenticeship time there. And then I can't remember exactly, but I'd been there for a while. I had already started like getting, the permission to start tattooing friends and or myself and all that kind of stuff. So I was already like very kind of well into an apprenticeship at that point. And Modern Family decided to shoot an episode there. And the funny thing is that, my mentality was, well, I'm here to tattoo. I'm not here to do anything else. Like, this is the path I'm on. So I was being very stubborn about it, right? But they needed extras, and all the tattoo artists, so all my mentors wanted to be extras, right? I was the only one that was constantly refusing the owner of the shop. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm good, yada. She's trying to go around taking pictures of everybody, and I'm trying to like not have my picture taken. And funny enough, out of everybody that wanted to do it versus the one knucklehead that was pretending to not be interested, even though secretly I was like, oh, dude, I would love that. You know what I'm saying? They asked me to go be an extra. Now, I did not show up at all in that episode. I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever seen the episode. But what happened that night when they shot it was kind of the defining moment. And I didn't really realize it because I guess I was kind of just, as they say, in the moment, about everything. But, that love for acting, that love for theater, that love for film, really just, I guess just radiated all over me, because like the next day I was, back to the normal order of business at the tattoo shop. And I was sitting down drawing one night with one of my mentors, and it was getting ready to close. And I was just sitting there trying to think. I'm like, man, how am I going to tell everybody that I think I really found the path I'm supposed to be on? Like, how do I do that? Because the tattoo world is very close knit. There's no school that you can go to. Like, it is very much an old school apprenticeship. Like, people have to you have to prove yourself to be taken under somebody's wing. And then if somebody does that, they're devoting a lot of their time to you, all of their experience and the knowledge that they've learned, and a lot of people, sometimes will take that and run off, so tattoo artists are very protective of that, because, there's a lot of people that, kind of act unfavorably, what I'm saying, once they kind of get what they need. So I didn't want to hurt anybody, you know what I'm saying? So I was really nervous about how I was going to explain this to them and just tell them that, like, thanks for your time, but I think I'm done. Because like I said, I was already about 2 years into that, so a lot of time had been put into me, and they were so gracious for doing that. And I was kind of just dancing around telling one of my mentors, and I think he just kind of figured it out. And he was just like, he kind of just stopped drawing, and he just looked at me for a second, and he was just like, you want to be an actor, don't you? And I kind of looked around, and I was just like, oh, did nobody else hear that? Because, like, I was just worried I was going to get in trouble, because as soon as somebody would hear I was going to think about leaving, it was just like, so I was getting all nervous about it. And I just kind of looked around for a minute, and then I sheepishly was just like, I was like, yeah, I think so, man. I think that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And he was like, you know, it's funny, man, because when they were here shooting that show, I'd never seen you like that before. Out of the 2 years that I've known you, I've never seen you like that. I was like looking at a completely different person. I'd never seen you smile that much. I'd never seen you that happy. I mean, I get it, man. You know? So, I mean, you're good in my book, you know? And everybody kind of just followed suit from there and noticed the same thing. And I was like, wow. I was like, all right. Like, I guess that gut feeling is really on the right track here. That's what I'm supposed to go. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. So I did. I left the tattoo shop, and I reached out, funny enough, to an old teacher of mine named John Ennis, who is an incredible human being and an incredible artist, and he's one of the funniest people I know. And you know, I think I was about, I don't know, maybe 6 months away from getting out. And I just sent him, I think it was a message on like Facebook. Like, you know, I had Facebook at the time. I just, you know, hey, sir, I don't know if you remember me. I was one of your students, you know, way back when. And he was like, of course. He's like, of course I remember you. He's like, I have this theater company. Come down and, you know, like, check it out. And I was like, okay. So then I'd start going from San Diego to like, you know, close to like, you know, downtown LA, man. And I'd start going to this, you know, little theater group and like just kind of softly reintroducing myself back into that world. And I just said to myself, I was like, all right, you know what, if in the next 6 months, if I'm still doing this and I still feel the exact same level of enthusiasm about this, then this is what I need to get out and do. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it like I do everything else. I'm going to 1,001% is going into this, man. And that's exactly what happened. And I got out, and for about a year, I think around a year or so, I was waiting for my GI Bill to kick in, and that's when I used to go to school. And in between that, I was doing, you know, like some extra stuff, just kind of like going to be around the set and, you know, seeing what that was like. So I did a couple extra gigs. I don't remember which shows they were, but yeah, so I started doing that just to kind of further getting my feet wet, you know. And then I went back to school, man, and I went back to the same school, the Lee Strasberg School, and I was the one I went to as a kid. Did their 2-year conservatory program, and you know, I've just been fighting the good fight ever since, man. You know, so
sure have, and
so, yeah.
It's obvious to me how it stayed with you, despite being in the service and away from home, and then even returning back home. It was still festering there within you. And what an experience when you really tap into that and you go, you know what? It's more than just a hobby to me. I really do want to be a part of this.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You know, and the interesting thing is too, man, is that, and it's funny because I was actually talking with a SEAL buddy of mine not too long ago about the same thing. And we were both like very much on the same page about it. And, you know, because when we're on deployments, man, it's like half the time, all we have is a laptop with a hard drive with, you know, hundreds of movies on it, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's also like a communal thing, you know, for when we have time. If you're not, you know, if you're on your rest rotation, you know, you don't have to go be on post, or you don't have to be on patrol, or, you know, whatever. And your platoon's on their, you know, their little rest block. Everybody gets together and wants to watch a movie, you know what I'm saying? Because one, you know, obviously it grants you that escapism. And then two, it's another little taste of home. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And it's something all of us can experience and share together.
That's a big treat with
man.
meaning behind it.
Yeah, man, and everybody loves movies too. And then, you know, like I said, you know, me and another SEAL buddy of mine were talking, and I was like, you know what's crazy too? I was like, you know what's really incredible about this particular art form? One of the incredible things about it is that no matter who you are, no matter where you are on the planet, no matter if both your countries are at war, that is one thing that we will all constantly share. We love movies, and whoever the bad guy is at the time loves the movies too. And I bet you they love the same movies too. And he was telling me, yeah, man, it's crazy, man. There's times, we were, running ops, when we were, taking intel back to base or whatever, and you just see piles of American DVDs, man. And it's like, yeah, dude, like how crazy is that? It's definitely one thing that really kind of brings everybody together, So, even in the military, to some degree, I was still surrounded by it, So yeah, it has this power, man, and I also see this as, I see this art as just a continuation of service, man. You know what I'm saying? I do see art, all forms of art, as a service a human being is providing to their fellow human beings. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I think storytelling, especially, is a big part of that. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, it wouldn't be around for as long as it's been around. It's important. And it is a service because it can educate people. It can make people discover truths about themselves that maybe they weren't aware of, or maybe they were ignoring, and it can give them that courage to face them. It can tell you a little bit about history, you know what I'm saying? So it can be educational in that aspect,
and create empathy towards others, when you can kind of go, if I was in their shoes, my goodness, things would be different for me, and can create empathy towards others.
Dude, 100%, man. I think that's definitely one of the biggest superpowers that it has, man. It can really put you in somebody else's shoes, man. You know what I'm saying? And it can really impact people, man. It can alter the course of somebody's life sometimes, a good story, a story that they can really relate to, that makes them feel that, oh, wow, dude, okay, like, I'm not alone. Or, man, if Terry Malloy can do it, then, man, gee, so can I, or name whoever your favorite character might be, it's Rocky or whatever. It's like, it shows you that the impossible, like, there really is no such thing, man. It's like, if you want it, you can achieve it. If you can do whatever you put your mind to. And, yeah, man, it's just story that's just very powerful, man, and I felt like it was my responsibility to continue to do that, man, to just be of service to other people, man. And instead of, doing it in a uniform with a rifle, I'll get in front of the camera and get on a stage and tell you a story, So yeah, man.
Absolutely.
It's really an incredible
and you
form,
mentioned
man.
the underdog spirit when we were talking about the Second World War, but also film. You mentioned Rocky, and you had me thinking of a film from the 80s that I cherish so much, The Natural, with Robert Redford and his portrayal of Roy Hobbs.
Yeah, man.
And wow, you talk about a never give up story and inspirational. I mean, there's a prime example right there.
100%, man. And it's like, I feel like those stories in particular are like, those are the ones that, like, definitely everybody can latch onto, man, because at any point in someone's life, you are the underdog, man. So everybody can relate to what that feels like. You know what I'm saying? Especially if there's a specific thing that you want to achieve or something you want to do, right? Because it's funny, right? It's almost like, it's like the universe has a strange sense of humor, right? Because it's like as soon as you develops the courage to ask the universe for what they want and then not be afraid to go get it, it's like the universe is like, okay, all right, I see you, all right, let's do this, but let's see how bad you want it first. You know
exactly.
what I'm saying? Before I really
Yes.
put in the work to help you. So it's like, as soon as you make that known out there, man, into the ether, it's like all the challenges just start piling up, man, and piling up. And it's like, you know, you don't have the luxury of knowing when you're going to finally finish that race. You know what I'm saying? You just got to have that blind faith and that trust in yourself that, all right, cool. Well, you know, I heard somebody put it in a really great way, is that, like, you know, are you willing to sprint when the distance is unknown? You know, it's like you just got to blindly go head first, full tilt into that journey, man, and just trust the process, you know, and love the process. And that's any path that, you know, you as a human being chooses, man, and that in itself is already an underdog story, man, because you got to fight from the bottom to get to the top, you know. So that's why I feel like those movies, you know, those films in particular are so impactful, man, and people just can immediately relate to and appreciate, because it's everybody's story.
And how do military folks like yourself, like when you're in the service, did you and your, you know, those that you served with, was there a collective thought that Hollywood was getting films that depict military service, right? Were they doing the job properly? Did many of you go, wow, look, they really get it. They really are showing this, you know, what we might experience. I mean, obviously there's always productions that try to exploit things, right? So maybe we can put those productions on the side. But what about ones that like, you know, that are serious with what they're trying to portray? Did many of you feel that Hollywood was getting that right, or do you feel that there was things that were being overlooked?
No, yeah, so that's a great question, man. So I would definitely, and if it's okay to name drop, you know, I'll throw a couple of films out there, but like when you start looking at films like, you know, Saving Private Ryan is definitely one of them. You know what I'm saying? That, I mean, but, you know, that came out a while ago, but also that was just so well done, you know, and the authenticity that was, the care in which, you know, how authentic it was that was put in there was really, it really showed, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, from, you know, later on, it's like, you know, you start looking at films like Fury, or Lone Survivor, and then you start seeing these films like, wow, man, they're really getting it, man. Like they're, you know, it's like, you know, even down to like some of the relationships between the guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you look at some of the scenes in like Fury, you know, when they're driving down the road in the tank, and, you know, they're, just some of the off colors, like really kind of just dark humor, you know what I'm saying? And just, you know, they would have going on with each other, you know, and it was just like, ah, man, it's like, yeah, dude, like it's like, I've been there, you know, it's like, I know what that is. Like, yeah, that's cool, man. You know, and then, you know, you look at, you know, things, you know, films like Lone Survivor, and then, you know, you have people that are there on set, like, you know, some great friends of mine, like, you know, Ray Mendoza and Mike Sowers, and, you know, these guys were real Navy SEALs, and, you know, they really knew the guys that were, you know, part of Operation Red Wings, that, you know, the story was about Marcus Luttrell and, you know, Lieutenant Michael Murphy, and you know, you just see the level of authenticity in the tactics and the movements and the way the guys communicated. And, you know, it was even on that sense, you know what I'm saying, from the tactical perspective. And, you know, that was one of the most, I think, incredible things, among the many incredible things, but one of definitely the most incredible things about Terminalist is that, you know, this, as far as I understand, you know, it's a set that has had, I think, the most veterans like in front of and or behind the camera, I think, so far. And it really showed, man, because, you know,
yes,
the level of meticulous detail in all of like the tactical stuff, from everything, you know, the movements, the hallway clearing, the changing of levels in a gunfight, you know, the way Chris will, conduct his reloads, going on, his non-dominant shoulder with his rifle as he's, clearing a staircase or something like that. It's all of these little things, man. I think that degree of authenticity has really not been shown before. You know what I'm saying?
It was amazing, that opening segment of the terminal list. You're right. Wow. Like, it was so impressive how everything was displayed so accurately.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And again, that's just a huge, a tribute to, everybody that just, like I said, really poured their heart and soul into this thing, man. I mean,
yes.
At every level.
It shows.
From the grip to the lighting department, to the wardrobe, to the makeup department, to the hair department, to just everything in it, just the whole team. It was just, it was just, it was like, sometimes like it was just overwhelming of just like how invested everybody is. And it was just like, wow, man, this is so cool, dude. You know what I'm saying? It almost really kind of like tugged on your heartstrings, dude, just to see how much everybody was so invested in this, and, Dave DiGilio, the showrunner, and, John Schumacher, one of the producers, and, Max Adams, who's also a veteran, who was writer and producer on the show. So everybody was so committed just to making this the best thing that they possibly could do. And then, Chris, I remember there was one, it was probably one of the nights when I think I was about ready to like fully be wrapped of my bit in the show. And I was watching Chris do one of the action scenes, and once it was all done, I was just, I went over and we just started talking. I was just telling him, I was just like, dude, man, I was like, I really hope you understand like how awesome it is, like how well you're making all of this look, man, and like how much so many veterans are really gonna appreciate that, man. You know what I'm saying? It's going to hit them all in the heart, dude. It's really going to make them happy, man. And it was really impressive, man. He had great teachers, he had Jared Shaw and Ray Mendoza and, the real SEALs, man. And, those guys are, they're the real deal, man, and, they're, having teachers like that, man. Of course you're gonna be good, right? You know what I'm saying? But just to see how quickly he took on all this stuff and made it look so natural, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to remember, man, like in the military, like this is like thousands and thousands and thousands upon thousands of hours of practice and hundreds and thousands of rounds that have gone through your rifle or your machine gun or your sniper rifle or whatever it is, right? And just to see how he made it look like he had all that hundreds of thousands and thousands of hours of trigger time and practice under his belt. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. Like, it's very impressive.
Really, yeah.
I totally bought that he was one of you guys. And wow, it's just so impressive.
Yeah, man. And I think the other thing too that helps, is that, dude, everybody on this team was just incredibly nice. Incredibly nice.
Oh, that is
great to hear. Dude, I catch myself like so many times throughout the day, man, and I'm just like, dude, I can't believe like how cool everybody is here, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just how nice everybody is, and it's like, there was no egos walking around. There was just no negativity in any way whatsoever. It was literally like one big giant family, man. And it's like, I mean, all of us on the HRT team, we still talk to this day, man. And this, we were done doing our part like last year, man. I mean, that's nuts, and we still all talk to this day, man. I mean,
that's how it should
man,
be. And the results speak for themselves. That kind of connection you all had in a pleasant and appealing set. I mean, that's saying so much why this turned out so good. Alexander, I would love to get your just opinion on something. As I'm watching the opening segment to the terminal list, right? The opening scenes with the mission, right? Wow. I mean, my goodness, talk about being on the edge of your seat. One thing before I ask you this question, or to get your thoughts on this subject, is, one thing I just wanted to say is just how much I admire the bravery of people like you and others in this type of service, because, I mean, literally, one false move, one slight looking the wrong direction, et cetera, relying on each other. I mean, and that could be it, or serious injury. So what I'm trying to say is, for me personally, I can sense that bravery, but while also realizing like, wow, this is incredibly dangerous, no matter how skilled you are. But I wanted to mention that up front. But also, what I find fascinating about this series, at least one area, is that, of course, it's no secret that the mission goes horribly wrong. I mean, people find this out in very quickly, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything there. But
right.
Isn't it kind of it kind of jars you as a viewer, because in theory, the Navy SEALs, I mean, a mission going that wrong is probably something that is more of a rarity, right? Or like something going to that extent, not as planned. I think that's what was really grabbing me, is like, wow, something's just off here. Like something's really not right, because it just seemed like there was too many things that they were not expecting that happened.
Right.
My question would be like, in theory, knowing your background, that type of mission and everything, Navy SEALs don't encounter such, let's say, defeats or things not going as planned. Is that true, or do you know otherwise?
So again, I was a Marine infantryman, so I was not, I was not in the teams. But from what I know, and what I know from, friends, good friends that I have that were in the teams, is that more SEALs end up getting killed in training than they do on actual missions, because they keep the standards of training as realistic as they can get it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I from just the knowledge that I have through friends of mine, something like that is, it is a rarer occurrence.
Like if this really happened, it would be shocking, wouldn't it? If it got it, if you read this in a newspaper, you'd be like, what? That many came home, that did not make the mission. But that's the great thing about this series, is Pratt knows that something was not right, or it really starts to hit him, as he starts to venture home and gets home, flashbacks. I like that approach at times. And it's just fascinating to put it all together. And I have to tell you, as a viewer, I wondered if he was partially also having just trouble with his memory, or some sort of, after effect from his experience, which, soldiers can experience, of course. And I just wondered, like, is he actually like slightly delusional, or what's going on here? And that was also another brilliant approach to the series.
Yeah, and that's so cool, man, because like I consistently keep hearing that too, man. So it's just another kind of thumbs up that, like, everybody accomplished their mission, man. And yeah, I think that's one of the things that I think, of the many things that keeps you so engaged in it is like you're just constantly asking yourself that question. I'm like, dude, what is it? Was it real? Did it really happen? Or like, did it not happen? Like, so yeah, it was a really cool little element that that was put in there, man. So yeah, it's just crazy, man. How well done it was, dude. And again, like I said, I think that's just it's just a testament to everybody's
efforts,
and yeah, man. And there's just so many talented people.
And remember that bar scene with Pratt when he's sitting there after he's, back and he's just really distraught. And I think the doctor said, don't drink or something, don't have alcohol. And the next scene he's drinking and he's talking right to his associate, his friend, comrade. But when the other person comes in and he looks over, he's not there. And that was like the moment where I'm like, was that person even there? So I really like the directional approach and the script and, congratulations to you and everybody involved. I am very curious. Were you involved with assisting in training of any of the actors?
No. So
Gotcha.
I was not. The interesting thing is that the HRT team that I'm a part of, all of us are veterans. Two of the guys I actually knew well before even stepping onto the set. So that was also kind of cool. Now I got to play pretend with my friends, you know what I'm saying? And make some new ones. It was interesting too, man, because like for me, there was like some moments, with like any like tactical stuff I had to do. I was like, man, dude, I feel like it's been so long, dude. I was starting to like get a little insecure about it. I'm like, dude, I hope I remember this stuff. And then, just much to my surprise, man, it's just crazy how it's like it never left. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you asked me to, go clear a room for you, like I could do it. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't need any practice. It's like something just kind of clicks back into my brain, and it's like I know what to do. And I also, just had really great teachers too, man. So again, I got to give credit where it's due. So yeah, but for all of us, we didn't really, we didn't need, I guess, any, we didn't need any extra training, and Ray Mendoza, the military advisor on set, man, who's a fantastic human being, by the way, just such a great dude. He would always just tell us like, nah, it's like, you guys know what you're doing, you're good. And he's always very diligent and watching and paying attention. And, he's very, very good at his job, man. I mean, very good at his job. But, as far as the training goes, yeah, like, I didn't have to assist in anything. And, as far as training for us goes, it kind of, wasn't really a thing,
Yeah.
Like I said, and the cool thing was too, is that like, we'd all kind of spot check each other too, man, which was like kind of cool, you know what I'm saying? Cause it's like, wow, dude, it's like literally being back in the military all over again. It's like, you got somebody having your back, man. It's like, if, you just got laxed and just wasn't paying attention and, held maybe your rifle an incorrect way or something like that, your buddy would be like, dude, like, this way, right? And it's like, cool, thank you, man. So that was so that was really cool too, man. So it's like, just like in a regular team or a platoon, man, it's like, you're there, your buddies are looking out for you, man, and in every single aspect, and and making sure that each person's getting held to the standard, and
keep the standards going.
Yeah, man.
Well, I have viewed 6 episodes. I got 2 more to go, and I cannot wait to finish it. I'll be finishing it tonight. And I believe your first appearance is on episode 6. Does that sound right to you? That's the one I just saw.
Yeah. So my goofy butt shows up in 6.
And your character actually
And then,
questions what's going on here a little bit. Like, I don't know. It doesn't sound like the guy that I know, referring to Pratt's character. And so when I'm just wondering, when it came for your moment to speak, I mean, was your stomach in knots, or were you like, hey, I am ready for this?
It's interesting, man, because I guess this could be a good thing and also a curse at the same time. But I think maybe a lot of it probably does come from being in the Marine Corps. Because, in the Marine Corps, like, nothing's ever good enough and everything has to be perfect and da-da-da-da-da. So, anytime, we do a take, I would always get insecure about it. Like, damn, did I really achieve what I was trying to do right there? Like, did the thought I was trying to have there, did that come across? Sure. Like, did that resonate in the tone of my voice? Like, yada, yada, yada. It's like, am I really getting across, like, all the ideas I have for this character? And it's like, and it's funny, man, in between takes, I'd go to, my good friend, Nate Boyer, who's also, one of the guys that I worked with on the HRT team. I'd constantly tell him, and he was, and bless his heart, man, for constantly being the voice of reason, man. But I constantly got over it. I'd be like, dude, I feel like I'm failing, man. I feel like I'm messing all this stuff up, da 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 da. And he was like, dude, no, you're good, man. You're totally fine, man. Just keep doing your thing. And I'm like, right.
Yeah,
so
you did an excellent job.
I guess,
did a great job.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you, man. It really means more to me.
And you'll be back in episode 10, I believe.
Thank you.
The episode 8, the last episode.
Yeah, you will see me again.
Great.
You will see me again. But yeah, as far as nerves go, I gotta be honest with you, man. No matter what I do, or no matter how many times I do it, I feel like there's just I always get a little bit nervous, man. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But I think I think when you really care about something, yeah, you're gonna get nervous, man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because it means you really care about what you're doing. So I don't think it's a bad thing.
No.
Now if it gets in the way, that's the problem. But that's one of the great things about attending a school, man, is they give you all these tools, man. All these great tools to just put in your toolbox, man. And as needed, situation dependent, you can pull them out at any time and put them to use, So I think that's where schooling, is very important, man. And the proof is in the pudding, and it will be there for you when you need it on a set, like it was there for me, and it's there for you, and it's there for, countless other performers,
And what you put into something, chances are that's what you're going to get back. So, dedication's important. And let me tell you, Alexander, having spoken with a wide range of actors and artists, I can tell you that even the most experienced and best often have those moments of insecurity or are questioning themselves. Like, did I really do everything I wanted to in a scene? So fear not, you're doing a great job, and I look forward to seeing you down the road. I would like to ask you, do you have any future projects around the corner, or not sure yet about all that?
So I am writing my own feature film.
Oh wow!
So I'm in the process of that with my mentor, who's also my writing partner. So I'm
very exciting.
I'm gaining, I'm gaining that experience, man. And I never ever thought I'd do that, man. I mean, I'd be honest with you, like, every time anybody would ever tell me, oh, you gotta write your own stuff, man, write something, I just think in my head, I'm just like, dude, I'm not a writer, man. I'm an actor. I don't even think my brain even works that way. And I was like, I don't even know how you do that. Like, and yet here I am, all of a sudden writing my own thing. So I got, I have that. And then I'm supposed to be doing the other half of a short I shot back in I want to say 2020. With the director named Scott Sloan, who's an incredible director, incredible guy all around. And we're going to be doing a part 2 of what we had shot then to kind of turn it into like, at least, I guess like a 20, 30 minute short, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're just, putting part 1 and part 2 together. And then I think we're just going to, blast the festival circuit with it and see where that goes. And so I have that I'm supposed to go do, I believe, sometime next month. So I was just talking with them about it, I don't know, maybe like a week or 2 ago, and they're just waiting on some location stuff. So I have that going on.
That's great.
And then, yeah, man. And then it's just, back to the, back to the audition grind, man.
And you have a nice Instagram page, which I've really enjoyed. So if someone's listening and they're like, hey, I want to check this guy out some more, what is your Instagram handle?
Yeah, so that is the only one I have. So you're not going to find me on anything else.
Just Instagram, okay.
But, yeah, so it's just, at Alex Angelikis, all together one thing. And that's it. That's where you could find me. I'm not on there all the time, but that's the only one I got. Like I don't have Twitter or no Facebook,
gotcha.
no.
One is enough for you.
Yeah, so that's definitely the place you can find it. One is enough, man. Definitely.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's kind of appealing to think about, where you just have one to kind of put your attention on instead of 3 or 4. So, and Instagram's a lot of fun with the photos and things like that. And thank you for all the support that you've given me and nice comments, and I really appreciate that.
Oh yeah, dude, you kidding me, man? Hey, we're all in this together, man. It's, you know what I'm saying? Teamwork makes the dream work, bro. So, we got to be here to support and show love and appreciation and respect to one another, man. It's it's the only way that the world goes around in the right way. You know what I'm saying? So, we got to keep carrying that. Carrying that torch, man.
Well, thank you, Alexander, for being my special guest today. I really respect and admire all that you've accomplished, and I know you have a lot of great things to come down the road. So thanks once again for joining me and discussing The Terminal List on Amazon Prime. Just an amazing series, very engrossing and high quality, and I strongly recommend it to folks.
Stephen, I can't thank you enough, brother. I mean, it means the world to be on here and have the opportunity to chop it up and speak with you, man. I absolutely enjoyed this, man. It was really, really a great pleasure to be able to sit and talk with you. So thank you.
You can receive all the latest episodes of Hollywood and Beyond with Stephen Brittingham delivered to your favorite listening device by subscribing to the show on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or whatever happens to be your favorite podcast listening service. Don't miss out. Tune in.
Hollywood and Beyond podcast is produced, edited, and hosted by Stephen Brittingham. Thank you for listening.